What's going on, y'all? This is J-Vive. I'm chilling here at the waterfront park, sweating my behind off with So Exquisite Charleston. Follow me at J_VIVE. Stay on the lookout for Soul Hawk. Shout out to Holy City Committee.
Movement music, man, they promise ain't no losing to it. So turn them up. My real ones know why we do it. The last surviving, changing lives through music. We told them what? Nigga, this is movement music, man. I promise ain't no losing to it. So turn them up. My real ones know why we do it. The last surviving, changing lives through music.
My name's J-Vive. I came up with the name when I was really young, when I started rapping, 7th, 8th grade. But Jay, which my actual name Joshua starts with a J. And then the vibe actually initially was V-I-V, like vibe, because most of the time people be like, you got good vibes, I can vibe with you, you're a cool dude or whatever. So, it was J-Vive, plus I'm like, most of the time I'm like laid back and cool. I can chill with pretty much anybody, so it was J-Vive back then, but then like some years on down the line I found out that it was an artist who was actually a pretty well-known artist, heavily like more underground circuit, but like internationally still, named J-Vive. So I wouldn't have been able to keep that name, to use that name. So initially I changed it to J-Vive with the V, and this is around when I was learning Spanish and stuff like that. And like Vive, my homeboy still calls me Vive, but Vive is like to live, and like I got to a point where I used to just rap about, any stuff, and the same regular stuff, the environment I grew up in, a lot of negative stuff or whatever. But I got to one point where I changed as a writer, and I started writing about life, life in general, things that people go through in life, my life, and try to, I guess, make music that make people actually want to live, because there's a lot of death in our music these days. So like, I left it at J-Vive, but I mean, it's kind of like J-Life, J-Live, like, I spit life through my music, or I preach life through my music in a lot of different ways. So that's where the name J-Vive came from. Alright, I've been doing music all my life. I started out in church like a lot of musicians, playing drums as a kid. Everybody in my family plays music, so music I believe I've been doing music regardless, whether it was hip-hop or whatnot, but I've been doing music since I was young. What made me get into hip-hop music was more or less kind of the influences of my brother, who used to listen to hip-hop a lot, and me from hearing him listen to hip-hop kind of made me start listening to it a little bit. And once I got to like about my 5th grade, 6th grade, like I started writing my own rhymes and everything like that, and just freestyling, acting like I'm on stage, things of that nature. So really, I guess I could say my family influenced me a lot in music, and music itself influenced me to do more music. Music has changed me in I guess in a lot of different ways. Music is like my therapy, so like when I'm going through something, I'll write, like growing up, like certain points in my life, like it could have a song that kind of takes me back to a certain point in my life, certain, like the first time I was crushing hard on a girl or something like that. It might have been like a love song that I can remember, or whatever. So music, all in all, like it plays a big part of my life, and stress and stuff I can listen to, to kind of help calm my nerves, stuff you can listen to get you hype, so music, it changes me through its influences in certain parts of my life and at certain points in my life. So it always influences me. Sometimes, most of the time it's positive. I mean, sometimes it could be negative. I mean, with music, just like in life, something can, happen just randomly to make you think negatively. So, the thing that separates my music, or that makes my music unique, is that my music is just that. My music is my music. So You know, I don't try to sound like anybody else. You know, I have influences by so many different other artists. Like, it's hard to put me in a box. So, you know, my music won't always sound the same. I mean, a lot of people say most of the time they hear, you know, soul music in my music. You know, I'll get compared to somebody like, I don't get compared to a lot of people. I don't get compared to like Jay-Z, 50 Cent back in the day. I get a lot of Common, To Live. You know, so it's like, I guess that kind of shows the diversity in my music, because some people can hear a lot of different, I mean, in my opinion, great artists. So, I think that's one thing that kind of separates my music itself. A lot of times you get that you're trying to sound like someone else or trying to be like whatever else, but you know, in my music, it's just me. Like, however, wherever the beat takes me, or wherever my mind takes me when I'm writing something, that's exactly, you know, where I go with it. And whatever I feel at the time, however I feel like delivering it, that's how I deliver it. There's a lot of different ways that I can. So that's really, to me, what separates my music. I think a lot of people put themselves in a box when it comes to music, because, you know, you want to follow a certain guideline or standard, you know, that the industry tells you to follow. So a lot of times you put yourself in a box and you're not able to open yourself up as an artist. So I think that's one thing that's different about me. I don't put myself in a box as an artist. As far as like the whole perception that people get on you and everything, in the box that people put you in, like sometimes, and this is not even from only like locally, it might be someone somewhere else, or you know, it's actually something that came from someone that doesn't even live down here too, that's actually, you know, doing some stuff. When you're not able to just completely be yourself, I think, you know, that actually creates a problem. You know, so when people are thinking of you, the perception that people have on you affects who you are, what you do in your music. I think that's an issue. Like, you know, for instance, I'm 20 years old, and like I've always had gray hair and stuff like that. So like a promoter would tell me like, well, you should dye your hair. It'll appeal more to a younger audience. You know, so I'm like, okay, I could do that easily, and I mean, I might appeal more, or I might just look younger, but I think at the same time, I keep what I am, because who I am is who I am, you know what I'm saying? And that's for anybody, like, who you are is who you are. So, you know, if the perception of people is making you want to change, or make you feel like you have to change who you are, if it's not anything negative, then that's a problem. So, you know, even something simple like that, like the fact that it's something I've been naturally born with, would be like something that people would look at and be like, well, yeah, that might be a problem, you know, in different areas. I think stuff like that is like stumbling blocks. The thing that keeps me going is passion. You know, it's just passion and drive, really, more than anything. You know, and if people say that they, you know, people who like music, who really feel music, they don't really deny me. You know, most of the time, most people, even if they don't feel my style, they be like, well, yeah, he nice, like, he makes some good music, but they just don't vibe with that type of music. You know, that, I mean, that actually motivates me. Even if someone doesn't listen to that style, but they can actually give a compliment, stuff like that motivates me too. But more than anything, it's just, you know, my passion for music, my drive to be successful at it. You know? So, I mean, regardless of whatever happens, if people say stuff like that, or do whatever, you know, I know what I want to do, and you know, I'm doing what I need to do in order to get there. So, above it all, just a drive and passion. I mean, if you have a gift and you're able to do something, if you've been blessed with a gift to be able to do something, you know, to make a living off of it, and this is not just to do no laundering, you know, or yeah, I'm gonna just rap so I can get rich. No, I actually do music because that's what I love to do. You know, so that, you know, that alone really drives me. And when people say I can't, that drives me too. I'm not gonna lie to you. When people say, well, you can't do this, or you know, or you're not good enough, or majors don't want to hear that stuff, it actually makes me want to do it even more, you know. So I use the hate to help boost me, or push me even more to do it, to prove people wrong. And at the regardless of whatever, I still have a drive and passion for it. So I'll be doing it regardless. The moment that really sparked a major change in my music, I would have to say, like I've been kind of advanced as far as music goes a lot in my life. So I've always been a really good writer and everything. So my change came when I was in my, I think I might have been like 18 or something like that, like 17 or 18. And like I told you before, like I used to rap in clubs and stuff like that, even that young. I used to go rap in clubs and everything. And it's right around when I was graduating from high school, I rapped at the club all of the time. Which, that was cool, because that was just something fun to do at the time, because I was good at rapping. But I went to a show, I already kind of felt that way because I was working in the studio, and the people that I worked around in the studio, other people, they kind of was like on the 80s status. So I went to the show, and then I kind of got, they acted kind of funny on me or whatever. I was doing my thing or whatever, and they just kind of hated, basically, snatching the mic, kind of pushing me off stage. So at that point, like, it had me like, like, god dang, like, I know I'm pretty good at this. It seems like, people be hating for whatever reason, and like some of the people I'm around, they really don't want to push this thing. Like I want to push this thing, and I'm in a position where, it's really hard for me to push it because I'm not linked up with people anymore. At that point, I didn't really understand the networking thing, to what it's saying. So I stopped doing music. So like right around when I graduated from high school, I stopped. I always kept writing, but I stopped pursuing and trying to do music like that and write the album and stuff. So I stopped for a good while. It might have been like a year and a half. And then I spoke with a guy who I was doing a lot of work in the studio with. And he told me, like, man, you should never stop doing this music thing. You're really good at it. Like, you've always been a really talented writer at an early age, so you really shouldn't quit it. And when I spoke with him and I kept writing, it just kind of helped put me back on point, when he spoke to me. So, his words kind of helped me out a lot. So, at that point I was like, okay, well, I'm going to write an album, and then that album, Good Morning Black America, which, that didn't come out because I used a lot of samples. I couldn't play all those samples and stuff. But I might release it as a mixtape later on, But I wrote that, and when I wrote that and started recording it, like the songs and stuff were so good, that it kind of helped me realize too, like, dang, why am I sleeping on this so hard? So, that's just one point where I was just kind of like, I went down and I was like, man, I'm not even gonna do this crap. It don't even make no sense for me to be doing it, because I'm not somewhere where it's going to happen like that, and I'm not even around people that really want to do it. So it's like I'm just stuck on the island by myself, So the hardest thing to overcome as a local musician for me, and when I first started out, was the working together part of it. I think being a musician down here and writing and stuff and rapping for a long time, at times people don't like working together, and I think that's the difficult part, because I'm the type where I like working with other great musicians. I grew up around nothing but ridiculous musicians. Like, I grew up going to the studio with people who play behind people like Josh Stone, working in the studio with Raphael Sadiq, been on tour with gospel artists like Shirley Caesar, NDRE. Like, I've actually dealt with like really good musicians, and this is from the musician standpoint of actual, people who play instruments, and help conduct choirs and everything else. So, growing up around musicians like that who, always worked together and kind of played and got better together. Once I moved into, the hip hop area, I kind of figured like, well, yeah, I could work with a lot of other great musicians, and we can really build something strong, not only just for me, but for everybody. And you don't always get that from everybody. I mean, it's sad to say, but it's true. You don't always get that from everybody. So I think that that has been a difficult thing to overcome. I think another thing that's probably a little difficult is like the whole judgment thing. We deal with a lot of judgmental people, and the judgmental point comes from a lot of different areas. It doesn't affect me as much because I know what type of musician I am. I know where I'm from. I know who I am, so it doesn't affect me as much. But judgment from other people can influence the thoughts of people that don't know me like that, don't actually know who I am. So it does affect me in a way. It just doesn't affect me personally, my own feelings as much. But if you get judgment like like the thing I told you before, people say you don't try to sound like you're from this place and that place, and they throw conscious rappers in a box, like kind of like conscious is the underground music. It's not the music that is for the people, and it's mainly for the people. I mean, I'm not just a conscious rapper, but I'm putting that box because I actually speak messages like that through my music a lot of times, like positive messages, and it's just judgmental things like that, that kind of affects you in a way to a certain extent. I mean, it's positive and negative, because some people may say, well, it's good that people say that you don't sound like everybody else, but then other people might be like, well, you're trying to be different, whatever, just being who you are. Of course, I want to sell lots and lots of records and be very successful at it. That's something I'm not going to do. That's something I'm going to do. But I mean, by the end of my career, or at the end of my career, if anybody looks back at me, I want them to say that my music inspired them. In whatever way that it may inspire you. If it inspires you to be yourself, that's cool. If it inspires you to do more in life, that's a good thing too. If it inspires you to do music, that's good too. But I want my music to inspire people, and at the same time, I want to be able to be in a position where I can link up with young, great artists and give them the opportunity to do what I've done. Like if I'm a great at the end of the day, I want to be the one of the people that's responsible for helping this other artist become one of the greats. So just to keep the trend going, and to keep great music, alive and going. So at the end of the day, those are things that I really want. Just to be looked at in that light, and then to be able to help other people to follow their dreams, make their road a little bit easier than the road that I had to take, so at the end of the day, I think those are things that I will be doing, other than probably some charity work or something, maybe build a community gym back where I grew up at, stuff like that, What I want everyone to know about me, musically and as a person, is that I'm pretty much the same person. I think, musically, I show different sides in me because all of that stuff is me as a person. I express it heavily through the music, but you may not always see that side of me because I'm kind of, I'm laid back. But like in life, like, you can be a chill person all of the time, but then somebody could bring out, a bad side of you, a situation bring out a side that people didn't know you had in you. So, they'll be like, if you are like that, someone will be like, well, dang, I didn't know you was like that. But life kind of influences people or brings out certain sides of people. So, just me as a person, I'm a cool person. Everything I talk about in my music is me. Like everyone has a side where they can get angry. Everyone has maybe not freaky, but everyone has a freaky side or whatever. So, everything through my music is actually me. So if you listen to a track and you hear me say some stuff, you'll be like, wow, I didn't know it was like that. I am, but you know, I don't have to act a certain way all the time. But you know, I just be letting me out through the music. So just know that my music is actually me, you know, and dude, man. I'm just laid back for the most part. So I mean, if you don't know that about me, you know, that is how I am. You know, I just like to enjoy life, you know, and vibe with people who like to enjoy life too. So, alright, this is J-Vive. I'm gonna go ahead and spit something off of So. Y'all check it out. I thought things get hard at the time. I just try to keep my Lord in mind and heart, because I know as I start this, not all things are going to be just as I thought. Sometimes I think, man, what's the meaning of all this? What am I walking? Is it really my calling? But every time I'm in the pad, they keep falling. Something fresh and new like Orleans. This is more than just raps and hip-hop. I live in the track, so every time that the kid stops, a lasting impression is left from my sessions, which could be a blessing 20 years ahead, man. Sometimes I'm stressing like I never make it there, man. But no one around me really is sincere, and no matter how much talent you got, if you ain't them or them niggas, they put you in the red, man. And that's a sad sight to see. So as I write these, I look to enlighten my peeps. And some gon' fight me, but you ain't Christ who cease to exist. And my speech is a gift to lift this whole city. I lived in the gritty, so you trying to call me out as silly. I know how it is really. I know killers, dealers, fakes, and real niggas. House and real niggas, so I put mines out the hill, niggas. Still niggas ain't gon' feel a nigga, man. But you don't have to, cause I won't ask you, and I don't ask for you. I do this for my master who gave me a family to love to work after. So enough with the sadness of a truck in the masses. Get blessings and masses. And as I'm open, they can hear their whole mess passing. Slow motion is a potion, more doors are open. Progress is so in, no need to boast there. Just keep rolling like an old man. Hold hands. No matter of fact, my thumb just a grip me and see rock bond. And I'm not going to the people see my vision exist and better live it. And I'm never giving to the end. And even then, you feel my existence through these plans again and again. And I'm in it to win. And as I send these jewels to my men, I tell them chins. Wave up to the sky, my dog, it's time to rise and celebrate our lives, cause everybody dies. And when it's all official, what you left behind besides tissues and issues, something like that. So Exquisite Charleston. Yeah.